The signal of scorn. Dr. Anya Kowalski adjusted her headphones for the third time that hour, straining to filter out the Warsaw traffic noise from the quantum receivers in her makeshift laboratory. The converted warehouse on the outskirts of the city wasn't ideal for sensitive measurements, but it was what her department could afford after the latest budget cuts. Come on, she muttered, watching the data streams on her monitors. For 3 weeks, she'd been tracking anomalous patterns in the cosmic background radiation. Most of her colleagues had dismissed it as equipment error, but Anya knew her instruments. These patterns were too precise, too structured to be natural phenomena. The quantum oscillator suddenly spiked, and Anya nearly dropped her coffee mug. The patterns weren't just structured, they were accelerating, becoming more complex with each passing moment. She grabbed her phone to call Professor Marcus Joe in Singapore, her closest collaborator in quantum field theory. "Marcus, are you seeing this?" she asked as soon as he answered. "I was about to call you," came his excited reply. "The patterns, they're not just background noise, they're carrying information." Before Anya could respond, her monitors went black. Then, every screen in the laboratory, and as she would soon learn, every screen on Earth displayed the same impossible message. "You have been measured and found wanting. This is the Hegemon Collective. Your civilization has been classified as a Type 0.7 subspecies, designated for integration as labor resource. Your laughter in the void has been noted. It will be silenced." The message displayed a series of images. Advanced civilizations reduced to ruins, sentient species transformed into docile workers, entire planets stripped of resources. The hegemon's voice, when it spoke, resonated with an unsettling harmony of countless beings speaking as one. "Your species has been observed for 100 of your years. Your technological development is promising, but your social evolution is inadequate. You wage war upon yourselves. You destroy your habitat. You believe you are alone in the universe. This arrogance shall be corrected." In the White House Situation Room, Admiral Victoria Hayes watched the broadcast with growing alarm. She'd seen combat, faced terrorists and rogue states, but this was beyond anything in human experience. The president turned to her as the message continued. "How do we fight something like this?" he asked, his face pale. Hayes straightened her uniform. "First, we assemble a team, not just military scientists, strategists, anyone who might give us an edge." The hegemon's message detailed their plans with horrifying precision. In 14 Earth days, their fleet would arrive. The majority of humans would be processed into an efficient workforce, their neural patterns altered to ensure compliance. A small percentage showing exceptional scientific aptitude would be educated as technicians. The rest, those deemed unnecessary, would be removed to optimize resource allocation. "Your children will serve the collective," the voice continued. "Their children will know no other way. This is the natural order of the universe. Accept it with dignity and the transition will be painless." As the broadcast ended, cities across the globe erupted in chaos. In Singapore, Professor Marcus Joe found himself thrust into the role of government advisor, analyzing the alien transmission for weaknesses. Something about the mathematical structure bothered him. It was too perfect, too elegant to be just a message. "What if they've given us more than they intended?" he mused during an emergency video conference with international colleagues. "What if the transmission itself contains information about their technology?" In Warsaw, Anya was having similar thoughts. The quantum patterns embedded in the message showed characteristics she'd only theorized about in her doctoral thesis. It was as if the hegemon had accidentally revealed the fundamental principles behind their own technology. Admiral Hayes, now appointed director of Project Echo, Earth's Covert Response Initiative, called her first strategy meeting. "We have 2 weeks. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a military problem alone. This is a species survival problem. I need ideas, no matter how unconventional." Commander Nikolai Voronov, a former Spetsnaz officer known for his unconventional tactics, spoke up. "Admiral, if these beings see us as primitive, perhaps we use that against them. Let them underestimate us." Dr. Rebecca Nilsson, a brilliant neuroscientist from Stockholm, added, "Their message mentioned neural patterns. If they plan to alter our minds, they must have some understanding of our neurology. That works both ways, we might be able to learn about theirs." As the team debated strategies, reports came in of strange activities worldwide. People claimed to see shimmering outlines in the sky, as if reality itself was being probed. Some reported dreams of vast machines and collective voices. 7 days into the countdown, the hegemon sent a second transmission. They had decided, in their benevolence, to arrive early to begin preliminary processing. Small craft appeared in Earth's atmosphere, setting up extraction zones near major population centers. "They're not even defending themselves," reported Captain David Turner, callsign Ghost, a signals intelligence specialist. "They don't see us as a threat." The extraction zones were remarkable in their efficiency. Hexagonal structures materialized out of shimmering energy fields, processing humans with assembly line precision. Those taken inside emerged docile, their eyes vacant, repeating simple phrases about the glory of service to the collective. Anya, working feverishly in her laboratory, made a breakthrough. The quantum patterns in the hegemon's transmissions weren't just communication, they were the foundation of their technology. By modulating similar frequencies, she could potentially disrupt their systems. "It's like they've handed us the keys to their castle," she explained to Admiral Hayes during a secure briefing. "They're so convinced of our inferiority, they didn't even encrypt their fundamental operating principles." Marcus Joe, collaborating remotely with Anya, discovered something even more significant. The hegemon's collective consciousness operated on quantum entanglement principles. If they could find a way to introduce interference patterns, "We could give them a taste of chaos," Marcus suggested. "Their entire civilization is based on perfect order, perfect harmony. Introduce discord and their whole system might unravel." As hegemon processing centers spread across the globe, humanity's response took shape in secret bunkers and hidden laboratories. Scientists and military strategists worked side by side, racing against time to develop a defense against an enemy that viewed them as little more than useful animals. Commander Voronov led the first successful raid against a processing center in Siberia. Using conventional explosives combined with electromagnetic pulse devices, his team not only disabled the facility, but captured alien technology for study. "They didn't even post guards," Voronov reported. "They genuinely believe we're incapable of resistance." Dr. Nilsson, having volunteered to infiltrate a processing center, made a chilling discovery. The hegemon didn't just alter human neural patterns, they absorbed them into their collective consciousness. Every processed human became a node in their vast network, their individuality subsumed into the greater whole. "They're not just enslaving us," she transmitted before her extraction, "they're consuming us." With 5 days remaining until the main fleet's arrival, Admiral Hayes authorized the next phase of Project Echo. Teams led by Captain Turner began sabotaging processing centers worldwide, while Anya and Marcus worked to perfect their quantum disruption technology. The hegemon response was swift and merciless. They deployed hunter-killer drones that tracked resistance members with frightening accuracy. Entire city blocks were vaporized to eliminate hidden cells. Yet for every human facility destroyed, 2 more sprang up to continue the fight. As the deadline approached, Anya had an epiphany. The quantum patterns weren't just the key to disrupting hegemon technology, they were the key to understanding the fundamental nature of collective consciousness itself. "What if we don't just disrupt their network?" she proposed to the Project Echo leadership. "What if we could hijack it?" The stage was set for humanity's desperate gambit. As hegemon ships gathered in orbit, preparing for the final phase of Earth's integration, small groups of humans around the world prepared to activate devices that would either save their species or doom it to eternal servitude. In the hidden command center, Admiral Hayes looked at her assembled team. Scientists, soldiers, and specialists from every nation, united in their determination to preserve human freedom. "They laughed at us," she said quietly, "called us primitive, said we were nothing but useful labor. Tomorrow, we show them what happens when you underestimate the human spirit." As the first hegemon capital ships entered Earth's atmosphere, Anya gave the signal. Across the globe, resistance teams activated their quantum disruptors. The battle for Earth's future had begun, and humanity's response would indeed be devastating, though not in any way the hegemon could have anticipated. The mockery would end, the silence would be broken, and the universe would learn that sometimes the most dangerous opponent is the one you've dismissed as harmless. The quiet resistance. Commander Nikolai Voronov crouched behind the ruins of a collapsed building in what used to be downtown Chicago. Through his night vision goggles, he watched the shimmering hexagonal processing center that had replaced Millennium Park. Hegemon drones hovered silently around its perimeter, their scanner beams sweeping methodically across the empty streets. Ghost, you copy, he whispered into his encrypted comm unit. 5 by 5, Commander, replied Captain David Turner from his mobile communications hub hidden in the subway tunnels. Quantum disruptors are in position. Dr. Kowalski confirms the frequency modulators are calibrated. Nikolai allowed himself a grim smile. The hegemon's arrogance continued to be their greatest weakness. Even after several successful raids, they hadn't increased security at their facilities. They simply couldn't conceive of primitive humans posing a real threat. In Stockholm, Dr. Rebecca Nilsson fought to maintain her cover within the processing center. She'd been captured during a staged raid, allowing herself to be partially processed to infiltrate the hegemon's neural network. The experience was horrifying, feeling her consciousness stretch and blur as it connected to the vast collective, but she'd made a critical discovery. The hegemon isn't truly a unified consciousness, she transmitted through the Resistance's quantum-encrypted channel. It's more like a parasitic network. There's something at the core, something ancient, that's consuming the minds of every species it conquers. Her transmission reached Anya in Warsaw just as she completed final adjustments to the resonance device. That explains the quantum patterns, Anya murmured. They're not just communication protocols, they're consciousness transfer mechanisms. Marcus Joe, working from a fortified bunker beneath Singapore, had reached similar conclusions. His team had managed to construct a prototype quantum weapon based on the alien transmission frequencies, but he needed more data to perfect it. We need to capture an executor, he told Admiral Hayes during their daily briefing. The higher-ranking hegemons seem to retain more autonomy if we can study one directly. Hayes nodded grimly. Agreed, I'll coordinate with Voronov's team, but we need to act fast. The main fleet arrives in 72 hours. Executor Zaleth stood at the apex of the Chicago Processing Center, its form shifting between states of matter as it reviewed integration progress. The being's consciousness, ancient beyond human comprehension, rippled with what might have been frustration. Inefficient resistance persists, it communicated to the hegemon collective. Recommend acceleration of neural integration protocols. The response came as a harmonious chorus of agreement. Zaleth began implementing new procedures, unaware that its every action was being monitored by hidden observers. Back in her makeshift lab, Anya made another breakthrough. The resonance device could not only disrupt hegemon technology but actually reverse the processing procedure. She immediately contacted Rebecca. I can get you out, Anya said, but I need you to stay in a bit longer. We need more data on the core consciousness. Rebecca's response was strained but determined. Understood, but hurry, I can feel it, pulling at me, trying to absorb what's left of my individuality. Captain Turner coordinated global resistance communications from his mobile hub, constantly moving to avoid detection. His network had grown to include military units, civilian volunteers, and even some partially processed individuals who'd managed to retain fragments of free will. Commander Voronov, he transmitted, we've identified a pattern in executor movements. Zaleth will be inspecting the Tokyo facility in 6 hours. This is our chance. The operation to capture Zaleth required unprecedented coordination. Teams in 3 time zones executed simultaneous attacks on processing centers to create a diversion. Nikolai's strike team, equipped with Anya's latest quantum disruptors, infiltrated the Tokyo facility through its waste disposal system. Remember, Nikolai briefed his team, we need it alive and relatively intact. Dr. Joe needs to study its neural patterns. The battle was fierce but brief. The quantum disruptors worked perfectly, temporarily severing Zaleth's connection to the collective. The executor, experiencing individuality for the first time in millennia, reacted with confusion and terror. What have you done? It demanded as specialized containment fields locked around its form. I cannot hear them, I am alone. In Admiral Hayes's command center, xenobiologists and quantum physicists worked frantically to study their captive. Zaleth's isolated consciousness revealed the true nature of the hegemon, not a collective of equals, but a hierarchy of consumed minds serving an ancient, insatiable entity. It's like a cosmic parasite, Marcus explained to the assembled resistance leaders. It offers order and efficiency, but the price is the gradual consumption of all individuality, and once absorbed, there's no escape. Until now, Anya interjected, holding up her latest device. The resonance patterns we've isolated can create a feedback loop in their quantum network. We can't destroy the core entity, but we can force it to release everything it's consumed. Rebecca, still embedded in the processing center, provided crucial intelligence for the final phase. The entity is preparing for a mass integration event when the fleet arrives. Every processed human will be permanently absorbed into the collective. We have less than 48 hours. The Resistance launched its most ambitious operation yet. Teams worldwide deployed Anya's resonance devices near processing centers. Marcus's quantum weapon was loaded onto repurposed satellites. Nikolai's forces prepared for a coordinated global assault. But the hegemon had finally recognized the threat. Hunter-killer squads targeted known resistance cells. Processing centers went into lockdown. Executor-class beings were recalled to defend critical installations. "They're adapting," warned Captain Turner as his communication networks came under attack. "Whatever we're going to do, we need to do it now." In the depths of the Stockholm Processing Center, Rebecca felt the core entity's attention turn toward her. It had detected her deception and was moving to consume her completely. With her last moments of free will, she activated a hidden transmitter. "Neural pathway mapping complete," she sent, along with terabytes of data about the hegemon's consciousness structure. "Tell my family, tell them I chose this for all of us." Anya received Rebecca's final transmission just as hegemon forces breached her laboratory's defenses. She had moments to act. With trembling fingers, she initiated the global resonance cascade. Across the planet, quantum disruptors activated simultaneously. The effect was immediate and spectacular. Processing centers flickered and destabilized. Hegemon drones fell from the sky. The neural network binding millions of processed humans began to unravel. In orbit, Marcus triggered his quantum weapon. Using Earth's magnetic field as an amplifier, it broadcast a destabilizing frequency directly into the approaching hegemon fleet. Ships designed to operate in perfect harmony suddenly found themselves isolated, their collective consciousness fragmenting. Zaleth, still captive in the resistance facility, began to laugh, a sound no hegemon had made in eons. "You have done the impossible," it said, its form stabilizing into something almost human. "You have introduced chaos into order. The entity cannot comprehend this. It is afraid." As the hegemon's control collapsed, processed humans worldwide began to awaken. The neural integration revering, they remembered who they were, what had been done to them. Anger replaced docility, resistance replaced compliance. Nikolai led the charge as his forces stormed the Chicago Processing Center. Without the collective consciousness to coordinate their defense, the remaining hegemon entities were overwhelmed. Similar scenes played out across the globe as humanity rose up against its would-be masters. But the battle was far from over. In the darkness of space, something ancient and terrible stirred. The core entity, the true heart of the hegemon, prepared to take direct action. It had consumed 1,000 civilizations, reshaped entire galaxies to its will. It would not be denied by primitives. Admiral Hayes looked at the tactical displays showing the approaching threat. "This is it," she announced to her command staff. "Everything we've done has led to this moment. Either we break them here, or humanity becomes just another footnote in their archives." Anya, having barely escaped her laboratory, arrived at the command center with crucial information. "The entity is quantum entangled with every ship, every drone, every processing center it's ever created. If we can generate a strong enough resonance cascade, we can shatter its entire empire," Marcus finished, his eyes widening at the implications. As humanity prepared for its final stand, something unprecedented occurred. Freed from the collective, individual hegemon began to ally themselves with the resistance. Zaleth, now calling itself by an ancient name long forgotten, offered its knowledge of the entity's weaknesses. "You have given us back what we had lost," it explained. "Individual thought, choice, for this gift we will stand with you." The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. On one side, an ancient entity that had consumed countless civilizations, believing itself invincible. On the other, a species it had dismissed as primitive, now united in their determination to remain free. The mockery of Earth's defiance had turned to stunned silence. Now, that silence would be filled with humanity's roar of liberation, not just for themselves, but for every species the hegemon had ever conquered. The quiet resistance was about to become very loud indeed.